a list of people I won't invite to my wedding because they didn't invite me to theirs. A little eye for an eye action.
A little Hammurabi's code.
I put would in the title because it hasn't happened or been an issue yet because I have been moving in the shadows and only a few people know. Oh, he's like, so I haven't had my wedding yet nor been engaged, but I have a little death note list of all the people that won't be invited.
I have been moving within the shadows.
So it's a perfect time to see if this is just a me thing. Let's get started, shall we? By the way, this comes from Any Advance 8215. And if you want to submit your story, go to OK Storytime subreddit. I am a 22-year-old female who always had a rather large and confusing family. My fiance and father of my child is 26 and he is socially awkward and has an extremely small family that has very few events in the year. Now for the juice. I have this giant family with multiple newlyweds. I still have never been invited to a wedding. Not one time from the time I was 18 until about 20. There have been a few, and I really didn't think about these too much. I was hurt, but figured it was due to not being old enough to drink. However, when I turned 21, I still was not invited to weddings. I turned to self-reflection and thought I was the problem.
Dang, is it me? Am I unwedding invitable? What?
I couldn't pin it to anything as the last time I was at a family party that wasn't the yearly reunion, I was maybe 14 years old. We live 3 hours away from the rest of my family. I live with my parents and they get invited to these events, and I am active on Facebook with them. The straw that broke the camel's back was my cousin Rob getting married. When I was little, Rob was one of my closest cousins. As though we have a bit of an age gap, he was sweet and kind to me. And he saved me from drowning at the beach, so he was like my hero, and I always loved bringing it up. Rob was getting married to Alexa, and my parents got an invite specifically stating both of their names without a +1 or and children or anything, meaning I wasn't invited. I was heartbroken. I felt so strange about it and had a what did I do attitude. The aftermath of the wedding was messy and drama, and I gained a clearer picture of what actually happened. Remember I said my family was confusing? That's because Rob is the son to my mother's oldest cousin and my father's youngest aunt? Don't worry, they aren't related, and they met naturally about a decade after the wedding. Due to this, I am the only cousin he has on both sides of the family, and this means that both sides of my family were invited. Turns out I was literally the only cousin that wasn't invited on both my mom and dad's side. So you had 2 chances to be invited to this wedding. You were on both sides. You're related to both sides, and they didn't invite you?
Does OP have the thing where it's like people forget you exist as soon as you stop looking at it?
That's what I had that exact same thought.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. Exact same thought.
Just this is as soon as you're
just
out
don't
of the
remember
field
you.
of vision, they're like, that person doesn't exist anymore. Oh, it's you. I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my God. And they're
Like
gone. And they're gone forever.
Like the silence.
Oh, and it's back. And it's gone.
Major WTF. And what's even stranger is that no one except my grandmother's sister, Rob's grandmother, and my Aunt Mary, and his parents knew that Rob and Alexa were purposely leaving out family, saying it was their day. Rob also left out most of his grandfather, Bob, Aunt Mary's husband, family, inviting maybe 2 out of all of them. My Aunt Mary and my Uncle Bobby were offering to pay for extra spots like me and a few of Uncle Bob's relatives. Even Rob's mother and father weighed in on cutting off a few people while the wedding was literally huge. Both sides of my family are easily 75 plus aside, and that's not even Alexa's family. Rob insisted that it's what they wanted, and no one, even if they were paying for things, has a say. And that's honestly fair. It's their day, and I really just wanted them to be happy, so I didn't tell anyone how I felt. Sounds like it's not you, though. It sounds like it's them.
Yeah, it sounds like it's clearly not a you thing.
Until my Aunt Mary spilled all the beans to my grandmother. She admitted to knowing and Rob refusing her offer, and that she just held her tongue after that. She told my grandmother that she suspected that it really was just Rob pleasing his wife and her being the actual bridezilla. They rejected a few +1s due to the +1s being new significant others. People ended up not going because of the fact that they couldn't bring their dates.
Like, who does that?
Yeah. Like,
oh, your significant other is too new.
I can't come.
We need a significant other with a little more patina on it, a little more,
What's the resume like?
A little rougher around the edges.
When my grandmother brought up me, the only friendly person on both sides. My aunt couldn't put her finger on anything except the fact that Alexa joined my father's side of the family mean girl clique, which included very salty and bratty cousin that was the sister of Rob. All of my family can verify the adjectives used to describe her, and this group repeatedly has openly ignored me and been rude since I could remember. It hit me that they really have had time to discuss me, as the last occasions I have been to was a funeral and the yearly family reunions. I don't know what the deal is, but after this, I went on a factory reset and made a rule. Don't invite me to your wedding. I ain't inviting you to mine.
That's a fair rule.
That's a fair rule.
That's a fair rule. It's eye for an eye. Or no wedding for a no wedding.
After his wedding, more weddings happened, and same thing, no invite for me, but my parents and grandparents are invited. What is going on? I'm so confused.
Yeah, I am also okay. There's like a lot of different like cousin, aunt, grandparent, parent. Yes, no, maybe, so.
No invites for OP?
Everyone in the Western Hemisphere
is invited except for OP. So every time I make a mental note to not invite them. And Rob wasn't the only close cousin, mind you, just one with the drama to really make me realize that none of it is me, nor is it worth worrying over. Just keeping track of all the no invites. I told my grandmother that told me the tea, and she was all here for it. She actually refused to go to a few of the recent weddings because they didn't invite me. My other grandmother on my dad's side, Katie, is very iffy. Mind you, this is both of my family sides, just my mom's side has been having a lot more. Grandma Katie really thinks that it's an a-hole thing to do to actually sit there and invite parents or siblings of a person and not them just because they didn't invite me. I told her that it's not fair because of all their excuses could easily be mine and that my wedding was not going to be a people-pleasing event. Put your foot down.
Exactly.
Put your foot down.
My wedding is not an event to please you.
No, my wedding's about me. What really sold it for me was my baby shower. My mother invited everyone. When I say everyone, I mean everyone. Every state lived in, all members of the family, even girlfriends and fiancés were invited. Probably over 200 invites, and maybe 30 people actually came. Many didn't reply and didn't show up. Out of my dad's entire family, my grandmother, aunt, cousin, and my grandmother's neighbor showed up. Grandma Katie was shocked when she realized that out of her 7 sisters and multiple cousins and nieces, only 4 people showed up. After this, she still thinks I'd be mean, but she understands that I really am the odd one out, but she doesn't want me to stoop to their level. Side note, the mean girl circle is real, and I found out even more recently they excluded me from a baby shower, even though I invited all of them and none of them showed up. I don't think I am. I'm just not having people who don't think of me or invite me to their wedding at mine. I expressed this to my man, and he said, they're just jealous of you, your looks and personality, and they think you'll outshine them by just being there. F them. I can marry you, however, just be happy with your decision. He's on the spectrum, so this is really sweet. Just blunt. This
Nice.
might be petty, I know that much, but am I actually being an a-hole? And you know what's never an a-hole move? Listening to full episodes with stories like this. Just go to OK Storytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. But there is a little bit left of the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, it's your husband's right. Just make sure that you want to marry your husband.
Yeah.
It's not fair, and it's like, I don't know if there's any way to, really undo this other than to just remove yourself from the equation, make yourself unavailable to be excluded by just excluding yourself in a way,
Cut these people out.
These people want nothing to do with you, and that's clear. And so just fine, whatever. Don't have anything to do with them.
But there is a little bit left to this story. Side note, it's petty, I know, but I have 2 family members who got engaged recently to different people. I don't know how to make it not sound like they're marrying each other. And I'm patiently waiting to cross their name off my list or write a loving and heartfelt caption about how they were the first people to invite me on their separate weddings. I was like, I've either got a really nice response or like, oh, I'm gonna tear them down. It's bad when my father, the most drama-free person, says, hey, your cousin just got engaged. I wonder if you're invited. Comments. Fun Yellow 6576 says, it's your wedding. Invite people you want there. It's obvious that your family didn't want you there, and to that reason, it doesn't matter. April Artsy says, not the a-hole. That was a lot to read, though. But really, if your family members are childish enough to not let you attend their weddings because of some weird crossover relations, that's on them. I'm all behind the idea. It's your big day. Only invite who you want. But these types of back and forth reasonings only complicate things, and people end up getting their feelings. In the end, if you feel that you wouldn't be happy with them at your wedding, don't invite them. Plain and simple.
Boom. Look at that.
And that is the end of that story. But
Perfect
man,
advice.
oh man, yeah. Your family kind of sucks.
Don't want them there? Have them
Don't
there.
have them there.
You don't want them there?
I can't believe none of them invited you. Like, for you to not be invited to any of these parties is wild.
She's just like really hot, smart, successful one, and all of the other ones are just jealous.
Man, but that is the end of that story.